Okay, so calendar management and time blocking is boring, but does it have to be? The answer is yes. But in this video, I'm going to give you a simple ADHD-friendly solution to manage your calendar quickly without losing your goddamn mind. So if you're new here, my name's Chris. I'm a creator with ADHD, and I help fellow active brains learn the tools to finally focus, grow, and get shit done. So as ADHDers, we just want to jump in and get things done. We kind of hate planning, right? But even worse than that, the idea of planning out a routine is usually enough to make us want to stick needles in our eyes, let's face it. But what if I told you that you could plan your week out with less stress in 30 minutes and give you more free time to do all of the new hobbies that you want to start and give up on this week? So let's jump into it. So Dale Carnegie once said, "An hour of planning saves you 10 hours of doing." And Benjamin Franklin once said, "For every minute spent organizing, an hour is earned." So even though they're both probably wrong, the point is that planning is effective, and even the smallest amount of planning will help our future selves. However, the problem as ADHDers is twofold. One, we suffer from time blindness. So even when we do plan, we can often be overly optimistic and try to cram in too much and then spend our week basically failing over and over again. And that leads us to simply give up on planning because we're like, what's the point in planning when everything goes to shit anyway, right? But calendar management and time blocking are skills that we can develop. And over time, we can get a lot better at it. So let's jump into the steps that it takes to time block effectively for ADHD. So for this, I'll be using Google Calendar as A, it's the most common, and B, it's the most compatible to work with other apps like email, notes, documents, etc. So step one is decide the day and time that you're gonna plan out your week, and then put it in the calendar. 99% of the time, this will be on a Sunday, as it's the closest to the start of the work week for you to have a good idea of what you want to do. But it could be different. I usually do mine at like 6 p.m. on a Sunday so that I can do it and settle it in my mind, then still have the rest of the evening to relax. So for now, block this off as 45 minutes. And yes, I know I said that it would be 30 minutes, but this is going to be one of those common points, is to leave buffer room. If we assign 45 minutes for it, and then we end up completing it in 30 minutes, great. If not, then we still have an extra 50% of our time to catch up. So step two. Step two is to block out all of the immovable items in your week ahead. So that's appointments, doctors, dentists. This is stuff that's set in stone, that's not flexible, that's not going to change and can't be moved around easily. And for however long that appointment or block is, double it. If the doctors tell you it's going to be a 15-minute appointment, nope, it's 30 minutes. Adding in the time that it's likely to run over is really, really crucial. So for me, my coaching sessions are 45 minutes, but I always account for at least an hour. If it finishes early, then bonus time, right? And as you're writing them in, make sure that you're adding in travel time there and back. And again, add a buffer for that as well. The next step is to block out your daily routine. So for example, if your alarm goes off at 8 p.m., but you usually spend 30 minutes scrolling on your phone, on TikTok or whatever, write that out. Put in all of that daily routine stuff that you do every day and block it off on the calendar. So this is your entire morning routine. This is getting up, making your bed. This is cleaning your teeth, going to the gym, showering, making your breakfast, looking at your calendar. And this is the stuff that you can put on a repeat. And if you don't have a regular routine for this, now is the best time to start seeing what you can do. There's no right or wrong answer to this. But right now, if you're finding the time getting away from you, externalizing this routine is a great place to start. And for all of these, you can set these as reoccurring. So day after day, you're plotting out on a smaller level the stuff that you do all the time. You know, eating for lunch, cleaning up plates, etc. And again, the more that we externalize this, the more that we can develop our awareness of how long things actually take. And it helps to navigate that time blindness that we spoke about. And you know, usually the first time that you do this, you'll get it wrong and you'll massively under-account for the stuff that you do in the morning. But this is good because as we progress week after week and do this, we can start to adjust it in a more realistic manner. And we learn that maybe our morning routine is 45 minutes instead of the 15 minutes that we thought it was. So we can start to account for it and iterate it. And this is a system that we can start to build. As we start to develop hindsight as to where the failures are, we can then iterate and use forethought in order to make it better for the next time. So the next step is to write out your goals. Write out the 3 main things for the week that you want to achieve. This is the stuff that excites you. You know, everyone has different goals, but there's usually a few things that will just make your week if you achieve them. And with these things, what I normally recommend is to put one of these things in your day very early. Something that really fills your cup up. The earlier that you can get in something that fills you with a sense of accomplishment and achievement, the quicker you'll develop the motivation and the inertia and higher energy for the rest of the day, for the tasks that maybe you don't want to do as much. So that one thing in your day that you're really looking forward to doing, try to put this at the start of your day so that you can fill up your cup and feel accomplished as early as possible. And that helps build the inertia for the rest of your day. And it's really crucial to make sure that we're breaking it down into smaller chunks. Very specific small chunks help us to know specifically what we need to be doing at all times. Not only does breaking it down, break it into smaller micro goals that give us a more of a sense of achievement as we go, but it helps us to plan better, because the more specific we can get, the more we know specifically what we need to be doing and how long it takes. And right now is the time to start looking at how your energy levels will be throughout the day and taking them into account. So for example, if your goals are to study, then are you likely to study for 2 hours immediately after a work day? Start to take that into account and look at your day and say to yourself, is this realistic? Is my energy going to be in the right place? Or do I need to start including more off time to be able to recharge? And if you want to learn more about how to break down your goals and develop your focus and achieve more from your ADHD life, then I invite you to come join our free focus bootcamp, where you can work directly with me and learn to build yourself a thriving life with ADHD. So the next step is putting in your work tasks. So this is something that can change from day to day. So on my weekly planner, I block out time as best I can, and then daily in the mornings, I amend it once I have a better idea of how my day is going to look. And I've accounted for that changing day on my calendar by having the calendar check-in in the morning, so I can swap all of the work tasks around very easily. And again, as you're putting in your work tasks for the day, make sure that you'll start to take a look at the energy levels. Some items will take a lot more energy than others. So make sure that you're mixing them up and making sure you're sprinkling in some of the easier tasks, the lighter tasks, in between the heavier tasks, so that your energy levels aren't just absolutely drained by the time you get partway through your workday. And then the next step is white space. So calendar white space is usually where things are flexible and you can use it as a buffer zone. For myself, I usually block off what others would call white space, because if you have a lot of white space, then it's very, very easy to give yourself a bit of an out and to simply do tasks at half the energy level and let them run on for longer than they should. So usually I will block off specific personal recharge time into chunks so that I can specifically put it into my calendar. And I can still move these things around. I don't allow it to be used as a buffer or something that's unaccounted for. And in blocking off dedicated, relaxed recharge time, that helps you manage your energy levels a lot better and allows you to have the time to recharge your batteries. Because sometimes we can get hyper-focused and lose all track of time. So by using the calendar and by putting in dedicated breaks to recharge, it means that we can prevent that burnout, because burnout happens a lot of the time without us even realizing it until it's too late, until it's already happening. And if we're dedicated to our calendar, then we're actually accounting for our need for downtime. So some more tips to help you with this is to make sure that you match it to your energy. Are you really going to do 2 hours of intensive studying immediately after a 10-hour workday? Probably not. Are you really going to have a 3-hour gym session immediately after your workday? Probably not. Make sure that you're taking into account your time blindness. So however long you think a task will take, it will always take at least 25% more. So if your gut says it's a 15-minute task, just round it up to 20 on your calendar. But as you're going, if you set a timer for 15 minutes, then you'll still be working for that urgency of that 15 minutes, but you'll still have that subconscious 5-minute buffer to allow you to run over. And remember, you don't need to block off every single moment on your calendar. Life will always happen, so you need to account for that. For me, my calendar is my best friend, and I want your calendar to be your best friend too. I have it open at all times. I have 2 monitors at home. One monitor literally just has my calendar open non-stop. So I always have that external reminder to know what I should be doing at every moment. It sounds a bit like overkill, but it actually is a lot more relaxing for me because I don't need to panic about what I'm doing. I always have it laid out for me. And if one of those things is relaxing, great. I know that I can sit and relax, but it's there to help you, and it helps build that self-trust because you know that your day is already planned out. So it helps reduce that anxiety. I let my calendar rule my life. I kind of think of me in the middle of doing things, in the middle of like a busy work week, as kind of the drunken friend, right? My calendar is the sober one. So as I'm stumbling around trying to figure out what I need to be doing, the sober friend is gently guiding me and saying, hey, we figured this out. Don't worry, here's what you need to be doing. I kind of see my calendar as a more stable-minded version of me that's there to guide me through the moment. And if you want to learn more skills, tips, and strategies for working with your ADHD, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you in the next video.